Hey guys, welcome to ProTech. Steven here. We're going to talk about our hybrid and Kybrid holster lines today. I've got a Kybrid holster here for a SIG P365, and then a hybrid holster here for a Walther CCP M2. You can see here on our bench we've got several holsters rolling out. Most folks are ordering Kybrids. That's where we've got two pieces of Kydex on them. But we're going to talk specifically to what differentiates the two models from one another. But first and foremost, we're going to show that we're unloaded, empty mag, empty chamber, empty mag, empty chamber on both of these. Okay. So first off, we're going to go over the hybrid holster. We're going to go over the hybrid holster. So again, this is our hybrid holster. This particular one is for a Walther CCP M2. It is an hybrid, meaning you've got a Kydex shell attached to a leather backer. Okay, and that's the hybrid between the two. Most holsters are either all Kydex or all leather. And then there is a market out there where several manufacturers like us will make a hybrid between the two. And the reason for the hybrid is to add comfort and consistency and retention all into one boat. Now the problem with a hybrid holster is that over time the leather will conform to your body, making it more comfortable, but as that leather conforms to your body, some of the retention goes away. There are band-aid fixes out there, such as having screws in one or more of these holes to clamp the Kydex onto the leather a little bit more, but that'll only get you so far. As the leather continues to adjust, you can max that clamp out, and you can't get any more retention than that as that leather continues to push away from the gun and find its place. Now on our hybrid line, we use 10-ounce thick premium horsehide. So this is very good grade of horsehide, and we coat it. We put a nice heavy coating of saddle soap on this side. Doesn't stain the clothing, doesn't do anything to your body. It simply sinks into the holster, sinks into the leather, and helps it maintain its shape once it forms to your body. And you can see we pre-program a curve into it. We'll actually post-mold the Kydex when it's on the rig to program a curve into the holster to help it conform to the side of your body. Another issue with the hybrid line of holsters that's available on the market today is that sweat will transfer through the leather. Leather is skin, and just like our human skin, moisture will transfer through it to the outside surface. So what happens is you wear the holster, sweat and moisture gets sucked off of your skin, helps keep your skin maintained and cool, and then that moisture transfers straight through the holster to this side. For example, if I spray the backside of this holster, now mind you, it's got saddle soap on it, so that'll slow down the intake. You can see how much slower it is versus a piece of normal leather, which I'll grab a piece of regular leather here. Actually, that's, there we go. We'll use this. That one was already wet. I want to give you a nice dry piece. So we still cannot see any moisture inside there, okay? It still hasn't gone all the way through. Now here's another piece of leather. This is just a scrap piece that we use for when we make the H-Mag magazine pouch. That's this guy right there, horizontal mag pouch. Okay, now watch. And we'll give it a minute. And you can see, I don't know if you saw that, as soon as I spray that leather, boom, it just sucks it right in. That's I don't know if that's the capillary action or what, but as that goes through, you'll see it start to show up on the surface of that piece of leather. And I'm going to let it sit for a minute. The nice thing about horsehide, and it's a good thing that it doesn't transfer through quickly. That's one of the reasons why we use horsehide, is it slows down the rate of transfer of moisture, keeping the moisture off your gun a little longer. But eventually it does soak through. And some of you that have some of our previous gen holsters or some of our hybrid holsters will know that, or if you bought a holster from another manufacturer that maybe uses cowhide instead of horsehide, cowhide transfers the moisture much faster. So to move on from that, let's see, what else about a hybrid is there? Those are about the only two deficiencies of a hybrid holster, is the maintaining of the retention, and there are Band-Aid fixes out there for it. Our fix is we use premium horsehide, and we use 80 thousandths thick Kydex 100. It's the strongest Kydex on the market. So this doesn't move any, and this moves very little. Okay, so it helps fight that, but it will loosen up over time. Okay, and then of course the moisture passing through. So that's what led us to, oh, there's one more thing, I'm sorry. Another disadvantage of the hybrid holster line is that there's more room for debris to get in the trigger guard area. Now, we cut our leather in a way that you can't really fit your finger in there well enough to be able to pull the trigger, okay? If you really force it in there, I might be able to, well, I popped the mag out. But that's not very realistic, you know, of a requirement, if you will. But you can see that there is some opening there. And that opening has to be there because when we grip the holster, or I'm sorry, when we grip the gun in the holster, you got to be able to get your thumb on the grip of that gun. You want a full purchase on that gun inside the holster so that when you draw, you've got a good grip on the gun. You don't want to have to run your thumb up over the top because you can't fit your thumb in there, or run your thumb inside the leather, jam it between, you know, your body and the leather, because that takes extra time. You want to be able to grab the pistol grip, yank the gun out, and be able to use it effectively. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Kybrid line. Now the Kybrid holster is for the person who wants a serious rig, who wants to carry all day, every day. Okay, the Kybrid addresses those two issues that we were talking about, or actually those three issues we were talking about earlier. The first one being, which one did I talk about first, Steve? The sweat? I think, yeah. The first one being the rate of transfer of the moisture. Okay, on a Kybrid, we've got full Kydex coverage on both sides of the gun. You can see there's an inside piece of Kydex and an outside piece of Kydex. Both are Kydex 100. This is thicker Kydex out here because it's going to take more load bearing, especially when the gun isn't in the rig. So we want that to hold up. And this is thinner Kydex. So this is 80 thousandths thick, and this is 62 thousandths thick. Okay, and both sides are molded to the gun. Okay, and that's a kind of a trade secret way that we accomplish that task. But both sides are molded to the gun, and then that shell is then hard riveted to our premium horsehide backer. And if you notice, we've got good coverage of the trigger guard on both sides of the gun. So there's very little room for debris to come in. Now on the left side of the gun, in this case, we want to make sure we stay away from the magazine release, because the last thing we want to happen is for this thing to be on the wearer's side and he lean up against a wall or the side of his vehicle or whatever, or the back of a chair, and the Kydex push that magazine release button. So we really leave some space there to ensure that that magazine is going to stay safely in the gun and that our rig is not going to disengage the mag catch and cause that to happen. Because you don't want that to happen. If that happens and you draw your gun, you got one shot. The magazine could possibly fall out of your gun too. So we account for that here. We instruct, we teach here on our range. So we think about those things as we design our gear and make sure that things like that don't happen. We also make it such that you can holster the gun with the slide back or the slide forward, so that in whatever case you may be, if you need to free up your hand and shove your gun down in your holster, you can, no matter what state it's in. So if you've got a misfeed or what have you, as long as it's not sticking out of the ejection port, you'll be able to jam your gun down in the holster and go hands-on if you need to. Okay, so sweat guard is fixed with the Kybrid for the most part, because we've got a complete piece of Kydex on the inside. The top edge of the slide, this edge here, is still against the leather, so you'll get a little bit of moisture on your gun there, but not much. Okay, and then the trigger guard is fully covered, like I said, and then the retention of the Kybrid stays pretty much the same throughout. Okay, you can even do a backflip in a nightclub with this holster on, and the gun's not going to flop out of your holster. I don't know if anybody saw that video of the guy who did that and his gun fell out of his holster. If he were wearing one of our SOB rigs, our small of the back rigs, this is one of those in Kybrid format, that would not have happened. This is, and you notice this small of the back holster has about 10 degrees more cant to it than the micro does. That's because you're reaching back here like this, and ergonomically your hand needs to be rotated a little bit more to line up with the bone structure of your arm, so you can draw and then track right alongside your body. Okay? So check out our small of the back holster video for more details on its design. But that's the difference between the hybrid and the Kybrid. Everybody stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.